Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Tony Stark Iron Man, issue number 14. This comic book suffers from a major case of badass covers, man. It's not just this cover, it's the whole series. Have you found a cover that you have not actually liked yet? Me neither. Um, the comic book goes deeper than that, but let's get started talking about who made the book so we can talk about what happens inside the book. Tony Stark Iron Man, Stolen Moments, almost like a one shot, kind of is in some way. And the writers are Dan Slott and Jim Zub. Valerio Sheedy is the artist. That's like the new way I'm going to try and pronounce this name. Color art by Edgar Delgado and VC's Joe Caramagna on letters. In-Hyuk Lee does these amazing covers, and the variant cover is by Pascal Ferry and Chris Sotomayor. Carlos Lau does those awesome graphic designs, and Iron Man is created by Stanley, Larry Lieber, Don Heck, and Jack Kirby. So this was a great excuse to have Captain Marvel in the book. I don't remember Stark being her, what is it, her sponsor for AA. I wonder what she did for all that time while he was dead. Did she get somebody else? Either way, this was a really great opportunity for these two to relive what happened in what the heck was it? The Civil War II. Everybody's got their own opinion about what really happened there because it's funny. Like 20 people could read the same story, you get 25 different answers for what happened. It's always interesting that way. The problem is when you get that tiny sliver of people who are so dead set adamant, no, this is what really happened, I read it. So did the other 19 people, but hey, this barely touched on that, and it was really just them both making fun, making light of the situation, which I guess is something that you got to do. This isn't Tony Stark anyway, not really, by his own admission. And in order to try and figure some of that stuff out, he's actually had 2 weeks of his memory removed and put onto a hard drive. He's going to try and investigate that, figure out what's going on. Unfortunately, this guy called a Spymaster shows up, and we've seen a lot of really great Spymaster issues in the past. Spymaster, in this case, he's detected with the naked eye by Bethany Cabe. This was a great moment. I know it seems like it was just so fleeting, whatever, but she actually just saw somebody who was invisible with her eyes, her actual human eyes. That's pretty impressive. She goes after the guy. Obviously, she's not going to be able to take the guy down because he's really good at this stuff. And he winds up stealing, what's his name, Rhodey's armor. There's a quick, very brief moment between Rhodey and Carolyn here, which is awesome. Definitely acknowledge that there's a relationship there. 100%. Why wouldn't you exactly? So I'm glad they did that. And basically it's just a fight between Stark, Danvers, and Spymaster. Yeah, that pretty much says it all. I enjoyed this book, man. This was actually fun. It's cool how such a simple story shows up and just boom, there you go. Now, there is still the issue of Jocasta, who really got the most legwork done in this book. While there's a little battle going on over here, Jocasta is like, I'm going to go sit down and have dinner with my man, with my bot. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to have a conversation at Bain Electronics. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to, start doing some shopping and whatnot with Janet Van Dyne. And it's like, dude, like, how long did that fight happen? I mean, if you just had all this stuff, I don't know, whatever, I don't really care. It's just the idea, like, it's something to crack a joke about. Excuse me, but the thing is that, yeah, Jocasta, would she be a she? I don't know, I don't care. This is kind of like analogous for extremists in certain matters. It's always easy to see the extremists on the right because they're usually ridiculously violent. When you have extremists on the left, though, you usually have people who are just painfully toxic. They have very short tempers and they don't want to actually think a thought out. It's their way or the highway, even if that means they're beating that highway. They're gone. And that's what happens here with Jocasta. Just the slightest little infraction where you believes something where she thinks that you believe something different than what she believes, all of a sudden she's storming out the door and nothing's going to stop her. it's childish, it's juvenile, it's ridiculous, but at the same time, it's real. Because there are people who did get really caught up in their emotions. They get stuck in their head, you know? And sometimes they act like their head is shoved up their butts. But, I mean, you know, it's only but so much you can do. And it's funny because there are some that you think that you could talk to, and there are others that it's better off to just ignore them, you know? So what do you do with a Jocasta? What do you do with a character like this who's just, she doesn't get it, that other people, that this is new to other people, the idea that robots, machines have rights? What, AI has rights? Why? We made you. We created you. It's a difficult thing to think about, but I like the idea that they do use analogous, I don't know, visuals for you to get an idea of what it must feel like on both sides of this equation. I dig that, and it's interesting to see an X-Men type topic being covered in a Iron Man story, of all things, an Iron Man comic book. That's interesting. Interesting. Either way, I'm down for this ride. I enjoy this, and damn, that's one hell of a cover, ain't it? All right, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.